Good afternoon, everyone. We're at the IAMCS Rabbis Conference. This is Monday afternoon, and we're having lunch at Miller's Ale House. This is our tradition for the first lunch. Just a brief story about Miller's Ale House. The greater Orlando area has many chain restaurants, and so when we lived here, we moved away in 2012. There were very few local places or local chains to go to, but Miller's Ale House was one of those local places, which I always enjoyed going to. And so because we're coming to this event annually, we get to visit it again, come back. My meal has arrived. This is the prime rib French dip, and it's on an Amorosa roll. Those are from Philadelphia, so this looks really good. Of course, it's going to be really rich. Very good, a little messy. I literally just inhaled half of the sandwich. And the fries, very well seasoned, excellent. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. And the important thing of going out to a lunch like this is because on my digest for today, you get to see what we have at the dinner. This meal was excellent. I'm glad we came here to Miller's Ale House and got an important tradition checked off for this conference. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at Gordon Ramsay's Fish and Chips in Orlando. There are only a handful of these in North America. We're looking forward to trying it. All right, so I think many of you all can see the menu pretty clearly. I'm planning to just get the fish combo and get the tartar sauce and the cocktail sauce because I'm a traditionalist. All right, so we're waiting for our order. This is actually in a very nice area. A lot of tourists here, but it's very cold outside for Orlando temperatures. It's in the lower 50s, so we're gonna eat at the little bar area right here inside. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our meals have come. This is my meal. This is just the standard fish and chips box. Cod, chips, tartar sauce, cocktail sauce. Now my mother got whatever the chicken thing is with the same sauces, and it looks good, and I'll give you my feeling of it when we finish. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. All right, so we have finished our meals at the Gordon Ramsay Fish and Chips. I enjoyed my meal. It was good. It was a good fish and chips. Was it better than some of the pubs I have back in? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here having lunch at the pub in Orlando. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the steak and chips at the pub. It looks really good. I think I'm going to be able to eat it all. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're on our final day here in Orlando, and wouldn't you know it, there's a Skyline Chili for not just all the people coming from greater Cincinnati to the different theme parks and what have you, but for those of us in the Cincinnati diaspora. So we got a group from the MJA leadership with us, so this is really exciting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. This is the Skyline Chili Orlando, and this is a very big deal. Very big deal for all of us here. All right, so here is the menu for Skyline Chili. My go-to is an onion four-way, and I'll probably also get 2 or 3 cheese conies with that. The last time I had this was 6 months ago. And of course, we start with our complimentary oyster crackers. All right, so my meal has arrived. This is the large onion four-way. And I've got my 2 cheese conies. I can't wait to try this. This is definitely something which is important for those of us from greater Cincinnati. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's all gone. I won't be eating for the next few days, but it is all gone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what y'all think of this meal? Was it really good?
Well, take a look at it. First of all, we had the most incredible 5-star Cincinnati Greek chili imaginable. It will take us days to recover from it, but it was worth it. On top of that, we threw on top of it Graeter's ice cream, which is the best in the world, and they were skimpy on the chips in these pints, but it is the best food. So this could potentially send us all to the emergency room later, but it was worth it. Every bit of it was worth it.
Right. Well, yes, if it sends us to the emergency room or it sends us to be with the Lord sooner rather than later, it will be worth it.
It is possible, but I do have to say, it's worth it.
I don't know about that.
This is what a way to go.
But I have to say, I'm from Cincinnati, and this is where this is all Cincinnati food, and I never eat it in Cincinnati. So here I am eating it.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay.
Well, he's not from Cincinnati. He's from Philadelphia, but he's been in Cincinnati a long time.
Yeah.
I actually grew up in Cincinnati, went to University of Cincinnati, ended up in Philadelphia, and this flavoring from Graeter's to Skyline Chili never left me.
I'm from Cincinnati now, but I originally was from Philadelphia, and I'll go for the cheesesteak over this.
The cheesesteaks are phenomenal. The cheesesteaks are phenomenal.
Better than
but
this.
There's nothing like Skyline Chili, and there's nothing like Graeter's ice cream.
Yeah, this is the greatest way to end an IMCS Rabbis Conference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Skyline Chili Orlando, we gave them our blessing. We pray that they are in business the next time we come here, and it's an excellent experience. I think I've got myself filled to satisfaction for certainly the next 6 months or so when we drive through the greater Cincinnati area again for another Messianic event. Good evening, everyone. It's actually around 4:30 in the late afternoon here. So, what do you do when it's cold outside and you're trying to stay warm? You eat something good and hearty. And some of you all should remember how for our December the 25th gathering, going to the movies, I made a big, huge Instant Pot of HEB chili. We only ate about half of that chili at our gathering, and the rest of it was frozen right before we went on our adventures to Florida and the Rabbis Conference. So, on a day like today, when it's cold outside, I want to find something very stick to your ribs, makes you feel good. That chili has thawed out, and I am going to be preparing a baked potato in my air fryer. So as you go through the different steps of doing this, this is something you may want to try out for yourself. So first we have to prepare the potato, put it in the air fryer, and then later dress it up with the chili, cheese, sour cream, hot sauce. Of course, the combinations are endless. So this is my potato, which previously I just rinsed off with water and let it dry. I put some olive oil on it, and then some of this Blues Hog dry rub. You wouldn't believe how many dry rubs I've got for barbecue-related items. So some of you all, you may just want to put salt or salt and pepper on your potato. That's fine, but I like to be a little creative. Now I'm going to wrap this up and put it in the air fryer. All right, so I have just started the potato at 400 degrees for about 55 minutes. After 55 minutes, we'll come back, we'll check it for tenderness, and we will probably open up the foil and cook it for another 10 minutes or so unexposed to make the skin nice and crispy. All right, so it's been 55 minutes at 400 degrees. I've unwrapped the baked potato. It is fork tender, so you can eat it now, but we are now going to put it back in the air fryer to crisp up. All right, so we're going 10 minutes, 400 degrees. The baked potato is unwrapped. This should make it nice and crispy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is my baked potato. I pulled it out of the air fryer. I put some of the chili from a few weeks ago. That's on the potato. Dressed it up with some cheddar, sour cream, and some Texas Pete hot sauce. So, looks great. Gonna make me feel a lot better on this cold night. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. All right, so this is my postscript. My stuffed baked potato with chili, cheese, sour cream, hot sauce. It was amazing. And of course, there are many combinations you can have for your stuffed baked potato. Now, in the future, there are many recipes I have in my collection for the air fryer. I don't exclusively use the smoker. And in future posts, I hope to share them with you. And of course, once again, I wish everyone who is suffering through the cold spell here in North America the Lord's protection, safety, and we will get through this. Good afternoon, everyone. It's just about 4:15, and I'm getting ready to make Hungarian mushroom soup in my Instant Pot. Now, the recipe I am following is available for you to watch on this post, messianicapologetics.net. This is going to take anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes to prepare. All right, so as you should be able to see, I've got my Instant Pot on saute. And first instruction is to take 4 tablespoons of melted butter. And I've got a chopped onion, and I'm going to sweat this down. And while it's sweating down, I'm going to go wash off my mushrooms. All right, you can see that my onion has sweat down sufficiently. I'm now going to be putting my mushrooms in. I got these on Friday at my local H-E-B. I've rinsed them out. Once, of course, you get mushrooms, the clock is ticking. So don't wait around if you're going to if you're going to prepare something with mushrooms. Get them and prepare your meal within 1 or 2 days. All right, so I've let my mushrooms saute down a bit over the past 5 to 7 minutes. Now, the recipe on the video calls for 3 cups of vegetable stock. We have a few more mushrooms than what the recipe called for. So 1 container of vegetable stock here is actually 4 cups. So I'm just going to be adding it all. So here are the different spices which go into the soup: salt, pepper, dill. That is thyme. Well, it's dry, even though the video said fresh dill. And that's Hungarian paprika. They did a much nicer job of displaying it on a plate. So spices go right into the soup. All right, so the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of soy. That happens to be the one ingredient we do not have, so we're going to improvise and put some Worcestershire in it instead. If this gives the soup a little extra flavor, a little extra kick, well, then that's what it does. All right, so we've stirred everything together. Now it's time to actually cook the soup in the Instant Pot. So we're going to put the lid on it and get this thing ready. All right, so the directions on the video called for 5 minutes on pressure cook. Because we have a few more mushrooms, I'm going to go 7 minutes. Pressure cook, 7 minutes, start. and we'll be back momentarily. All right, so the soup has cooked for the time I set. We now have to let the pressure valve go off for the next 10 minutes. Isn't that exciting? All right, so the soup has cooked for the time I set. We now have to let the pressure valve go off for the next 10 minutes. Isn't that exciting? Now you put your Instant Pot on saute, and we're gonna wait about 10 minutes. Now you put your Instant Pot on saute, and we're gonna wait about 10 minutes. All right, now we're gonna add around 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I know that's really fresh. That is what we have. And we're going to add around 1/3 cup of sour cream. And yes, this is the sour cream I've got. And around 1/4 cup of parsley. There we go. Now we're going to stir all of these final ingredients together, and then we're going to let it simmer for just another 5 minutes, and then we should be ready to serve. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been about 2 hours, around 6:30 now, since we started our soup. I've obviously made myself a bowl, and it's definitely cooked down and reduced a great deal. So let's try this and see how it tastes. All right, so here we go. It's still pretty warm. It's also a little bit spicy, and I think that comes from the paprika. This is definitely something I think you all should try, but you may want to adjust the number of spices you put into it. All right, so it's now around 7 o'clock. I've had my soup. I think everyone in the family has been able to have some. My verdict on it is that this time cooking the Hungarian mushroom soup, it was a little spicier and it had less cream in it than a year ago, but overall it was very good. It warmed me up a little bit, and this is Texas, so spice doesn't scare us. Now, I have had a few orders, if you like, for another batch of chili, and we'll see within the next week or so if that is something which we make. I did get a cast iron Dutch oven for my birthday all the way back in December, which is still in the box, and I'm definitely wanting to use that on something. So chili on the smoker would be a great thing to do. We'll just see what the next week brings. So until then, God bless you. Have a great week. I sincerely hope you all enjoy these recipes which I do for you. Good evening, everyone. I have been working all day, stuck here in my home office, and I'm going to be working into the evening as well. But someone was gracious to get me a takeaway. Jersey Mike's. I'm sure many of you have a Jersey Mike's near you. It's one of my favorite places to eat. Let's open it up and see what we've got. All right, there it is. That's the sub I ordered. Turkey and provolone Mike's Way, which means it's got lettuce, oregano, oil and vinegar, and then I added mayonnaise, banana pepper, their red relish, and of course, pickles. So I think this is going to hit the spot for me. And just like that, it's all gone. All right, it's the late afternoon. I am working hard here in my home office. You know that our ministry, our family, have entered into a new season. So I'm going to be working long into the evening. So just like the other day, someone was gracious to bring me a takeaway, and yet again, we have Jersey Mike's. So let's open this up. Generally, my rule is to eat a cold sub when it's warm outside, a hot sub when it's cold outside. The temperatures in Texas fluctuate too much. This is the Big Kahuna cheesesteak. Of course, it's got the steak, it's got their American cheese, onions, mushrooms, peppers, and jalapenos. Looks good, of course, it's been wrapped up. I'm not eating it at the restaurant. And just like that, it's all gone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here at Mod Pizza in McKinney, Texas. I was here a few months ago, and this is their Lucy Sunshine. It's got mozzarella, garlic, artichokes, and dollops of sauce. So it looks interesting, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I just drove down 380 here in McKinney, Texas. There are a lot of new developments, a lot of new restaurants coming in. So this is an older restaurant, Jason's Deli. I haven't been to it in a number of years. We're gonna get it checked off our list today. My sandwich has arrived. I have the Reuben the Great with pastrami on it. And am I gonna eat all of it? That's what we're gonna try to do. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. Hi everybody, it is Super Bowl Sunday, and I will be making game day chili and chili crackers using some of the recipes provided by Heath Riles and Malcolm Reed of How to Barbecue Right. MessianiCapologetics.net, you can check out this post and you can see their videos. All right, for the chili crackers, you need some saltines. I'm using an oven bag. I've got some oil, that's sunflower oil. I've got chili seasoning, and we're gonna mix the oil and the chili seasoning together, about 3 tablespoons or so. All right, so we got our crackers here in the bag, and we've got the oil and chili seasoning mixture. We're just gonna pour this in, and then we're gonna mix it all up. All right, so I have shaken up my chili crackers. Do be careful when you shake your bag up. In the case of these oven bags, it was the bottom that came loose. So a few crackers got out and had to wipe up some of the mess. But we're gonna leave these here in the bag for about an hour, 90 minutes. And when I return, I will start the chili. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to make the game day chili, and we have some of the main ingredients right here. This is my cast iron Dutch oven. I actually got it as a birthday present over 2 months ago. I have not been able to use it yet, so this is something very exciting. I've got some oil in the bottom of the pan, and please, this is not cheating. I'm taking some frozen fajita vegetables, so that's peppers and onions. This only cost me $1.99 at H-E-B, and I'm going to sweat these vegetables in the pan. All right, so the next 2 ingredients which will be going into our chili are a tube of this hot turkey sausage. Yes, in the original recipe it used pork sausage. And then this is 2 pounds of ground chuck for chili. It's got a much coarser grind, so that'll be interesting. This is a tool some of you have seen me use before. I call it a paddle wheel. It really helps to break up things like ground meat. So I'm going to use it on some of the sausage right now. Really good tool for you all to have in your kitchen. I've now incorporated the ground chuck, and I'm going to let this brown for a few minutes. All right, in just a moment, we're going to be adding a lot of diced tomatoes. Here you see tomatoes for chili, tomatoes with chipotle, regular diced tomatoes, a big can of tomato sauce, and tomato paste if necessary. I'm about ready to stir the 4 cans of diced tomatoes and can of tomato sauce. This is our main chili seasoning. I'm now going to add between 3 and 4 tablespoons. I decided on about 3.5 tablespoons. So I know this is controversial for Texas, but we are going to be adding 2 cans of beans to our chili. We did not use the tomato paste, but there's one final ingredient to go. This is Shiner Bock, very famous Texas beer. If you watch the Heath Riles recipe, he was going to put some beef broth, and then at the last minute he substituted a Miller Lite. We don't use Miller Lite around here. Okay, we're not going to use all of the beer, but we're going to put enough of the beer in here for a nice flavor. I've actually turned off the heat to my stove here. Now comes the really fun part, moving this chili outside to the smoker. It is a cold and wet day here in North Texas. I've got my smoker up to around 25 degrees or so. I need to now bring that chili and put it right there. All right, because that is a cast iron Dutch oven, I wanted to show you that I do have insulated gloves. I hardly was going to grab that with my bare hands. We're going to leave this on the smoker now. It's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon for about 3 to 3.5 hours. I will plan to check this in about 90 minutes or so. All right, so it's been about 90 minutes. There's the chili getting a nice kiss of smoke. We're going to stir it up. It looks, the smell here is just outstanding. I can't explain it. And here are our chili crackers. I'm going to try one. I've actually had them in the bag for about 2 hours, longer than... Okay, interesting. I get it. I would do this again. Even though we probably have another hour or so to go. I've got the 3 main sides for our chili: sliced jalapenos, sour cream, and some mild cheddar Monterey Jack. It's about 20 after 4. This is our bonus Tex-Mex queso with brisket from H-E-B. I've just pulled this out of the refrigerator. I'm going to put it on the smoker in about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to try to let it get to room temperature. It is now 4:45. I put our queso. It calls for a half cup of milk. I wonder what happened to that beer. But anyway, half cup of milk. We're going to put this in here. The actual instructions detail 400 to 425 for about 20 minutes. The smoker's running at about 320. I'm going to stir our chili once again. You can see how it's been reducing down. All those nice chili flavors. Nice smokiness to it. Really looking forward to this. All right, it's 5 after 5. I'm going to stir the brisket queso. I've had this before, but it was, of course, cooked on the oven. This is going to be much, much better on the smoker. Well, look at that. Boom on the cheese. It means it's broadly ready to be pulled off. Yeah, it's going to have to cool off a little bit, but got a nice touch of smoke here. You can definitely tell that. It's going to be delicious. I've just taken the queso in, but look at this. This chili has really reduced down these past 3.5 hours or so. Look at that. It's going to really be great. All of the meat, the tomatoes, and of course, the beer. All right, so my queso is a little liquidy. I'm going to add this. Some Monterey Jack cheese to thicken it up. Here's the final queso with the Monterey Jack added to it as a thickening. And here we go, the game day chili. Oh, it's nice and thick. This is really good. I'm really looking forward to this. Brought in off the smoker, of course, with the gloves. All right, so I'm going to try a chip with some queso. The brisket queso from H-E-B. Yeah, this turned out really good. Nice and thick and rich. So there it is. My bowl of game day chili with the hot sausage, chili grind meat, all of the seasonings. I've put some cheddar Monterey Jack, dash of sour cream, jalapenos on it. Looks great. So, here we go. It's really hot, but has a nice flavor to it. Might want to let it cool down a little bit. And there, ladies and gentlemen, about 30 to 45 minutes later, it's all gone. It had to cool down, and at the very end, I did indeed have to nurse it. So what is my final verdict on the Game Day Chili, the Heath Riles inspired recipe? We still have a few days of leftovers. Not that that's a problem. We will genuinely eat it. It was very good. It was very hearty, especially with the wet and cold temperatures outside. I recommend that you do your own version of this. You will not be disappointed. Hi, everybody. What's my final afterword from the Game Day Chili? It was excellent. I genuinely enjoyed it. I sincerely hope that if you are a foodie, you try what I tried out. Now, what are we going to do next time? One of the things which is on my barbecue list is a breakfast casserole with potatoes, sausage, turkey sausage, eggs, peppers, onions, that sort of thing. So be looking forward to that recipe on the smoker in the not too distant future. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Guess where I'm eating tonight? Last time I got the hot dog combo. This time I'm going to get the big beef. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. The Portillo's Italian big beef with hot peppers. I think I'm gonna eat it all, so we'll see. All right, so before I continue eating, this is an Italian beef. So the beef is cooked in Italian spices, and then it's shaved very thin, and then left to sit in an au jus of the meat drippings and more spices. It's not a cheesesteak. It's more like a French dip type of sandwich. And just like that, it's all gone. You're just gonna have to take it on faith that I put my sandwich wrappings in the bag. Good afternoon, everyone. A family member of mine has a burger deficiency, so we're here at the McKinney Shake Shack for lunch. So I'm waiting for my meal. I got the double Shack burger with everything, but no fries this time. That's my double Shack burger and my small Dr. Pepper. It looks really good, and I look forward to eating it. Good afternoon, late afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here at the new Texas Roadhouse in Anna. We do have a Texas Roadhouse in McKinney. It's generally very crowded. This one just opened, I would say, over a month ago, so the wait is not going to be as long. Look at that. Look at all the steaks. Not quite sure what I'm going to get yet, but it's always nice to survey the merchandise. So this is the complimentary bread with the cinnamon butter. And here is the main appetizer, the cactus blossom. Very similar to another similar appetizer at another restaurant, which will remain nameless. Now, a lot of people like to pick apart at the onion. I like to take a number of pieces and eat it with a fork. And there, of course, is the horseradish style sauce. I've just been given my side salad, and of course, it's with Thousand Island, which is what sophisticated people have on their salad. My meal has just arrived. I got the grilled chicken breast, sirloin, and of course, vegetables. It's always my goal to eat everything at a restaurant, because once you put it in the refrigerator, it will not taste the same. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. Good afternoon, everyone. This place is actually on my list. I am having lunch at Brahms. Now, Brahms is, yes, it is kind of fast food, but it's highly regional. It's out of Tuttle, Oklahoma. So when I was up at OU, I ate at Braum's all the time. And of course, having moved back to North Texas 11 years ago, I frequently eat at Braum's. So this is for the sake of my region. Braum's is a great place, so let's go inside and eat. All right, so this is the main Braum's menu. Braum's is widely known for its ice cream, and I'll give you a tour of the Braum's Fresh Market in just a moment, but normally I get the number 2 meal with everything. All right, so this is the Braum's Fresh Market, and they've got a lot of varieties of ice cream and other dairy-related products, because one of the things about Braum's, which is very impressive, is they've got their own farm, dairy farm, ranches, a processing center, bakeries, everything else. So it really keeps the cost of everything down, and it keeps the quality very, very high. So when you eat at Braum's, you are supporting local businesses. So my double quarter cheeseburger has arrived. These are the fries. I've also got some ketchup and some of their special sauce. So here is the Braum's double cheeseburger. It's a solid burger. Yes, there are fancier burgers, but one of the nice things about Braum's is you are supporting local, and you know where everything's coming from. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. Here's just another stroll in the Braum's Fresh Market. As I said, they have their own ranches, they raise their own cows, and you can get steaks, you can get ground beef, and you can actually reproduce their burgers with the buns that they use in the store. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here at the McKinney Costco. We had a death in the family earlier this week. Yes, my Power air fryer of 5.5 years has passed away, so we're looking at replacements. All right, so it looks like this is the one we're gonna get, the Ninja Foodi. All right, so we picked up the air fryer at Costco, and before returning home, this is a place on my list here in McKinney. We're going to Dilla's, which is a quesadilla, Tex-Mex kind of, not quite fast food, but quick delivery restaurant. All right, so here's some of the choices on the menu. You can see some of the creative names. I'm getting the Lone Star. So here it is. This is the Lone Star. It's got brisket, red onion, cilantro, and I think that's some kind of a ranch dipping sauce. So I think this will hit the spot. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it is all gone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to the Blue Goose Cantina here in McKinney. This is a Mexican restaurant. I've been here a number of times. I really enjoy it. And the food is cooked on mesquite wood, so it's got a really great flavor to it. We are here commemorating Pops Mark Huey's early birthday. All right, so this is the real dangerous part. Chips and salsa. How much will I be able to actually eat? All right, so let's try the chips and salsa. It's solid. I've had hotter salsa. I've had salsa that's a little more flavorful, but I'll have my little bowl here. I'll finish it off. All right, so I'm looking over the menu. And of course, your objective when you come to a restaurant is to be able to eat all of your food and not take any home. So when I've been here before, this is the one item. The chicken enchiladas with the sour cream sauce. I've been able to eat it all, as well as the rice and beans which comes with it. So I think that's what I'm gonna get. Ladies and gentlemen, my food has arrived, the sour cream enchiladas. Now, will I be able to eat all of it? I can tell you that another member of our party got the same exact thing, so this will be rather interesting. And look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. I'm probably the only person at this table who's not going to take home leftovers. And why? Because I did not tank up on chips. Hi everybody, I'm here at my local Culver's in McKinney, Texas, and I got the double butter burger with everything on it and the onion rings. All right, so there's the double butter burger with everything. So the lettuce, tomato, pickles, red onion. And here are, of course, onion rings, which I do recommend substituting for the fries. And they have been ranked as some of the highest in America right now. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. So the Culver's burger was great, and we've got 2 more to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's day 2, and we're at the number 2 place, In-N-Out, here in Allen, Texas, and waiting for my meal, double with fries, animal style, the secret menu. Here it is, the double and the fries. Of course, animal style is from the secret menu. Many of you who have gone to In-N-Out, you are aware of the secret menu. Definitely something to take advantage of. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. In-N-Out, double, animal style, and animal style fries. 2 down, 1 to go. Hi, everybody. Over the past 2 days, for our burger reviews, we've gone to Culver's and then In-N-Out. Now, I do not eat like this normally. And before we go to our 3rd place, today we are having a bit of an intermission. And what am I eating today? There it is. I'm having a salad. I picked this up at H-E-B yesterday, garden salad. And yes, it also has a little bit of chicken salad from their rotisserie there. My splurge is that I got honey mustard dressing, special dressing for my salad. I do eat salad quite a bit. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The salad is all gone. Good evening, everyone. It's actually been over a week since burgers 1 and 2. I'm here in Allen, Texas, and we're off to burger number 3, Fat Burger. That gives you an idea about what goes on a fat burger. All right, so I ordered the Fat Burger meal. Alas, it's coming with the skinny fries. This is only the 3rd time I've eaten at Fat Burger. The first time, they took almost an hour to get my meal to me. The second time, they got my meal, they forgot it, so they had to go make the meal. I don't think that's going to happen this time, but you never know. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, my Fat Burger and my fries. The skinny fries, but it does look good, it does smell good. And this is number 3 of 3. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, number 3 is all gone. And next, we'll do the review of number 1, number 2, and number 3, and determine which is the best. All right, so of the 3 different burgers, number 1, Culver's, number 2, In-N-Out, and number 3, Fat Burger. How would I rate them? In that order, with Culver's and In-N-Out really close. The main difference between Culver's and In-N-Out is that Culver's is a classic burger with lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle, whereas In-N-Out is a little more specialized because of the spread. Fat Burger, it was good. I enjoyed it, but next time I may just go to Sonic. So there you have it. Culver's, In-N-Out, Fat Burger. Good afternoon, everyone, here in McKinney, Texas. This is one of the new places which is opened here off of 380, Pickleman's Deli. So looking forward to trying it out. All right, so I got the number 17 Chipotle chicken. All right, so I got the Chipotle chicken, and to it I added tomato, onion, and of course, because we're Picklemans, I got pickles on it. This is my Chipotle chicken sandwich. You can see all the different toppings, and we got one of their cheese pizzas, which has been cut into square slices. So this is a very creative place. It's got a lot of character to it. We'll see how the food tastes. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, my sandwich is gone. Now I get to try some of the pizza while it is still warm. And do I have room for it? I'll make room. And ladies and gentlemen, the pizza is now gone. All right, so that's my Pickleman's Gourmet Cafe, not deli, experience. I enjoyed my meal, I enjoyed my sandwich, I enjoyed my pizza, but many other places to try here in our local area. Braised barbecue chuck roast sandwiches. It's a little past 1:30 in the afternoon here. I have turned on my pellet smoker. It's heating up to 275 degrees. This is a recipe I am deriving from Burnt Pellet Barbecue. I ran across it on Instagram late last week and thought, hey, this is a great recipe to try out. It'll only take a few hours, and I get to use my cast iron Dutch oven. So let's get started. Got my 2 chuck roasts here. Now I've got to go cube them up. All right, so I have cubed up the chuck roast on the left. The one on the right, you can see, has some bone in it. Fortunately, I've got my knife right here. This is the knife I used for trimming a lot of the briskets I do, and I don't expect this to be a huge obstacle. All right, so there you have it. I had to cut down the bone, and now we go on to seasoning. So according to the recipe supplied by Burnt Pellet Barbecue, you are supposed to use yellow mustard as a binder for the meat, and then generously coat these pieces of cube chuck roast in your favorite dry rub. I'm using Heath Ryle's pecan rub. And our meat is thoroughly seasoned. Now the smoker should be up to temp, and we will go put it on. All right, so we are going to be smoking this meat at 275 for the next few hours, but it's not quite up to temperature. I've got some tongs here, of course, to put the meat on the grill grates. And there we have it. The meat is all situated. We'll come back in about 90 minutes to 2 hours or so and move on to the next process. Hi, everybody. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We have given the pieces of chuck roast a little over 2 hours or so to develop what is hopefully a nice bark. And indeed, you see those pieces of chuck roast, which we seasoned, the mustard binder, the Heath Ryle's pecan rub. They look good. Now it's time to braise them. All right, so I've taken the pieces of chuck roast off the smoker. You could eat them right now, but they would probably be very, very tough. We've cooked them. They've got a nice bark, nice flavor. Now our objective is to tenderize them. That's what the braising is for. All right, so for your braising liquid, you could use beef broth. The original recipe from Burnt Pellet Barbecue used cherry Dr. Pepper, but this is Texas. What are we going to use? We're going to use a giant Shiner Bock. We're going to braise this in beer. We're just going to pour it all in here because this is going to reduce down. It's going to give it a nice flavor. It's going to make it really super tender. And also we're going to add some barbecue sauce. Here we have some Lip Smackers. It's a Texas barbecue sauce with no high fructose corn syrup, supporting local businesses. And there we go. I'm going to close the lid on the smoker, and we will check it in about another hour or so. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is approximately 10 to 6, 5:50 in the afternoon. and we're gonna check on our smoke here. All right, there we have it. I put some baked beans on the smoker, our side, and we're gonna see what's in the cast iron Dutch oven right there. All right, I've got my insulated glove on like I'm an astronaut. Oh my gosh, look at that. I'm sure that's just break apart tender. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna kind of break up the meat as much as I can. And yeah, let it just kind of consolidate here in the juice here. All right, so it's clear enough to me that this meat is still a little tough. It's going to need a little more time, and I'm likely going to turn the temperature on the smoker up to around 325. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the final stages of our barbecue preparation. See, I've got some onion buns, fried onion strings, special barbecue pickles, and of course, jalapenos. So let's get this thing wrapped up. So for our meal this evening, our baked beans are presumably ready. I will probably try them. So here we have it. The beans are cooling. I had some of them with a tortilla chip, fried onion strings, Texas pickles, jalapenos, the chips. Now we're just waiting for the meat. All right, so it's now 6:25 or so. I'm gonna have to take this meat off the smoker and pull it apart with my special insulated gloves because we have various persons who are starving and ready to eat. All right, so I've been able to break up a great deal of the meat with my tongs here, but I'm now going to have to use the gloves. So I have used my insulated gloves to break up the meat. All of the beer and the barbecue sauce has broken it all down and reduced, so it will have a very nice flavor. And I'm sure those who are going to make sandwiches, here we have the onion buns, briefly warmed up in the microwave for about 30 to 35 seconds. It will be very good. Now, from the Burnt Pellet Barbecue, they were serving it on a croissant. Of course, we would say croissant with fried onion strings, and you can also use pickles or jalapenos. Everyone will serve it the way they want. And there is my sandwich, ladies and gentlemen, with the onion roll, the pickles, and the fried onion strings, and the baked beans homogenation. All right, so I have just completed my meal. What would I say about this braised barbecue beef chuck roast in the smoker? You can have some really decent tasting barbecue in about 4 to 5 hours. That's what I would say about it. So if you are desperate for Q, this is an excellent option for you to consider. Is it brisket? No, but it tasted pretty good and it hit the spot. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm at Taco Cabana here in McKinney, and I got the Taco Cabana platter with an enchilada, taco, see guacamole, rice and beans. Looks really good. There's a lot to eat here. Several different kinds of salsas. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's all gone. Good afternoon, everyone. I've just taken off the cover to the smoker behind me, and later I'm getting ready to prepare breakfast casserole. This is something I've wanted to do for a while. There are a number of different versions online. I'm following loosely the recipe of Malcolm Reed of How to Barbecue Right. This is something which I will prepare for the cast iron casserole dish I've got. It'll have potatoes, sausage, turkey sausage, onions, peppers, eggs, and a lot of cheese to it. So looking forward to trying this out. It's something which is Going to take about 90 minutes in total to prepare. I'm in the kitchen now, and let me walk you through some of the main ingredients for our breakfast casserole. 2 pounds of turkey sausage. This is from my local H-E-B. We have both mild as well as hot. We're going to brown that with onions and peppers. This is probably one of the best things I've ever encountered. Fajita vegetables blend, frozen, $1.99. Of course, we have some seasoning with that. Blues hog. Got some shredded hash brown potatoes. I've got a lot of cheese here. Colby, Monterey Jack, Mexican cheese blend. We've got eggs. We're probably going to use 6 to 8 eggs, some heavy cream, some hot sauce. And here we have my cast iron casserole dish. Of course, we've got nonstick spray. And the most important part, insulated gloves. There you go. I've got my 2 pounds of sausage. I've got my paddle wheel. Some of you all have seen me use this before. We're going to break this up, and then we're going to sweat down the vegetables. In a few minutes, now we're going to put this entire package of fajita vegetables into our sausage and let it just kind of warm up together. While we are waiting on the sausage and onions and peppers to warm up, I've taken 2 packages of Simply Potatoes hash browns. I put them into this bowl here, and I will be getting this ready. All right, I've turned off the heat to my electric frying pan, and I'm going to let the sausage, onions, and peppers cool down for just a few moments. A huge part of our breakfast casserole is eggs. So I'm going to crack open about half a dozen, possibly 8 eggs, and whisk them together with some heavy whipping cream. All right, so I have cracked open 8 eggs into this container here. And before we continue on this side, let's go get the smoker turned up to 350 degrees. All right, we still have some pellets from the last cook that we did. That was the braised chuck roast from earlier last week. It's going to take a while for this to get up to 350. But overall, this is a cook which takes less than an hour, so I don't think we're going to have to put any more pellets in there. All right, so here we go. We're going to put some heavy cream with the eggs. That's probably about 1/3 of a cup. And I'm going to whisk the eggs, and then we're going to add some hot sauce. And the hot sauce, this is Valentina's Salsa Picante. If you don't want to do this, that's fine, but this is Texas, and we like it a little spicy. All right, so we're going to let the eggs with the heavy cream and the hot sauce just kind of sit here and amalgamate for a few moments. And now it's time to assemble the main part, the potatoes and the sausage, onions, peppers mix. Transferring the sausage, onions, peppers mix here to the bowl where I've got the 2 packages of hash brown potatoes. This could be a little messy, so obviously I've got a towel under this, and this will help all of the liquid to not be transferred over, because remember, we're going to be adding that egg mixture. Our next step, I'm going to be adding some of this Blues Hog sweet and savory seasoning. So I'm probably going to use about, a nice tablespoon or so. And I've got that all mixed up rather nicely. So let's go outside and check on the temperature of the smoker. And there we have it. The smoker's at 353. So time to get this thing put together and cooking. So the next major part of assembling our breakfast casserole, we're going to take those 2 packages of cheese, Colby and Monterey Jack, and the Mexican cheese blend, and we're going to put it with our potatoes, sausage, onions, peppers mix here. And now it is time to mix the cheese into that. And there we have it. It's all been mixed together. Now the final assembly before putting it on the smoker. There's my cast iron casserole dish. I have sprayed it down with cooking spray, and we're going to transport this over here. And there we have it. It fit just about perfectly. The real fun is coming now. Pouring the eggs over this potato, sausage, cheese, onion, pepper mixture. All right, so I have poured the eggs over this, and I'm gonna probably get a fork and just kind of poke some holes and let the eggs kind of seep down into the potatoes and the sausage here. All right, so I have poured the eggs over this, and I'm gonna probably get a fork and just kind of poke some holes and let the eggs kind of seep down into the potatoes and the sausage here. All right, so I've given this a few moments to let the eggs kind of penetrate into the potatoes and the sausage. Now I'm gonna go open the smoker lid and we're gonna get this thing on. And there we go. 350 degrees for about the next 40 minutes. Here is our final bag of cheese. After 40 minutes, we're gonna check on it and we're gonna give it a nice top coat of cheese. All right, so I just sat down in front of my smoker. I have not opened the smoker since I put the cast iron casserole dish on. I can definitely smell eggs. So I've got about 3 or 4 more minutes before we hit the 40-minute mark. So looking forward to seeing how this is going to turn out. All right, it's been about 40 minutes. So let's see how this, ooh, it's all nice and bubbly. But yeah, we're gonna put some cheese on it and we'll be right back. Okay, so I briefly pulled this out of the smoker. Yes, I used my gloves, and we're gonna put some cheese on our breakfast casserole. All right, so there we go. Yes, I used the entire pack of cheese. 3 packs of cheese have gone into the breakfast casserole. And there we go, we're gonna put it back on the smoker. I would suspect for about another 15 minutes or so. It has now been about 15 minutes since we put the breakfast casserole on. Ooh, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, nice bubbly cheese, a little browned on top. All right, we're going to turn the smoker off. It goes through about a 20-minute shutdown cycle. And I'll go put the insulated gloves on and we will bring this inside. And there is our completed breakfast casserole. I have the folded up towel I used. I've got some coasters underneath it. And there is no way we're going to start eating it right now. I suspect it needs to be given at least 20 or 25 minutes to sufficiently cool down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been about 15 to 20 minutes and my fellow family members cannot wait any longer. And if it burns the inside of their mouths, well, that's their problem. And I've cut out my first piece and it looks thoroughly cooked. And of course, the pan was sprayed, so it came out with no problem at all. And here is my serving of the breakfast casserole. You may even see how it is still steaming hot. And I've also got the hot sauce right there. Let's take a bite. Probably one of these side pieces right here. All right, I've just had a few bites of the breakfast casserole. You can definitely tell that the star of this is the sausage. That is the main flavor which comes through. Yes, you can taste the onions and the peppers and the eggs and the cheese, but it's the sausage that comes through. And of course, there's that nice little hint of smoke as well. Now, many of you have done something like this in your cooking experience before. You could have done this in the oven, but I like to use my pellet smoker. All right, so a few final thoughts on the breakfast casserole. This was the first time I've done a breakfast casserole on the smoker, and admittedly, it's been a few years since I've made something like this in the oven. But it was very good, and I think for all of the people who will be eating it this evening, it was mild enough. In the future, I would definitely consider adding a can or two of diced green chilies, give it a little more heat. I would experiment with different kinds of cheeses. Might even put some sour cream or something like that in the breakfast casserole. And also, add a little more of the dry rub. But on the whole, it was very good. And I definitely recommend you try some of this and adapt it for your own taste needs. Good afternoon, everyone. It's about 1:30 here in North Texas, and you can see behind me, I'm getting the smoker ready. It is my responsibility to cook for everyone tonight, and I'm very excited about the meal getting ready to prepare. All right, so I'm using a sweet blend of pellets for my smoker, and I've just turned it on. Have to get it up to around 250 degrees. And here you have it, the main feature of our meal this evening, beef back ribs. Beef back ribs are taken from the bottom of a rib roast. Those of you who've prepared prime rib have probably seen prime rib with the bone in it. This is that bone. And I got these at my local H-E-B. And on the whole, I'm going to prepare them along the lines as though they were pork ribs. I've got a video on messianicapologetics.net from Meat Church Barbecue, which I am loosely following today. These are my first 2 racks of beef back ribs. I've used a mustard binder, and we're using this Heath Riles cherry rub. So this will have kind of a sweet flavor to it. And then I'm going to prepare the next 2 racks with this Moe's Original barbecue rub. I got that a number of years ago in Gulf Shores, Alabama, which will have a much more savory flavor to it. All right, there we have it. Our 4 racks of beef back ribs are on the smoker, and we'll be checking them in about 90 minutes or so, which should give me enough time to make our principal side dish. It's now about 2:30, and it is time to prep our main side, which will be going out on the smoker. So we are going to have macaroni and cheese, but kind of an adult macaroni and cheese. See, I've got some melting cheese, original queso blanco. I've got shells. I've got mustard, green chilies, heavy cream, some of the barbecue rub we used, an entire container of French onion dip, and of course, some onions. That's a convenient frozen bag for 99 cents. And yeah, this is kind of a kicked up version we're gonna make here. And there you have it. The macaroni and cheese is ready to be put on the smoker. So we've got all of that meltable cheese. I've cubed it up. It's underneath all of that. The shells, 2 cans of green chilies, 2 tablespoons of Dusseldorf mustard. It's got an entire container of French onion dip, that package of frozen onions, and then a nice, generous, probably about a tablespoon and a half of the cherry rub on top of this. And there we have it. It's on the smoker. Is the smoker going to be able to handle it? I'm sure it will. But I will be coming back in the next hour or so to probably wrap the ribs in foil. It's about 3:45. I've got my electric thermometer right here, and we're going to check on our beef back ribs. All right, so what you see on the top rack is the macaroni and cheese. We'll get to that in just a minute. But you see the beef back ribs with the nice mahogany color. Let's check on the temperature here. Okay, yeah. They're warm enough that it's time to wrap this. And we'll be back in a moment. All right, so I brought the ribs back inside. On the left, those are the ones with the cherry rub. On the right, those are the ones with the Moe's rub. We're going to put them in some foil. These ribs have been cooked through. They've got a nice color, but they now need to tenderize. So that's why we are foiling them. And there we go, all wrapped up to be put back on the smoker. And there we go. Our wrapped beef back ribs are back on the smoker. We'll just let them sit there for a while, and I will prepare a glazing sauce for them, which we will apply in the last 10 minutes of the cooking process. Now, we got to go do something with this, our macaroni and cheese. All right, so I brought the macaroni and cheese in. Of course, I used insulated gloves No way you're going to grab that with your bare hands. And we're going to give this a nice stir and see what we need to possibly add to this. All right, so I've stirred up the macaroni and cheese. I have had to add some more pasta to this, but it'll be on the smoker for about another 90 minutes to 2 hours. So this will all cook down, and then we will probably add some more cheese to the top of this as it finishes up. All right, so we did have a little bit of spillage on the transport out back to the smoker, and I've also had to put a metal pan you see underneath that, but I think on the whole this will be okay. It is now 20 after 4. The ribs are all wrapped up on the smoker. The macaroni and cheese concoction is going to be on the smoker for a couple of hours. We got to let all of that cheese and milk and heavy cream reduce down quite a bit, but we will put some extra cheese on top in the last 20 minutes or so. And I've got coleslaw in the refrigerator, so we'll be eating hopefully within the next 2 hours. Okay, so it is now almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's time for me to prepare the glazing sauces for our beef back ribs. Okay, this is really scientific. Not really. This is a local Texas sauce. Mark's, Lone Star, Good Stuff, cracked pepper. That's what we're going to use on the savory ribs, the ones which have the Moe's dry rub on it. And here, this is going to go on the ribs which have the Heath Riles cherry rub. There's a little bit of barbecue sauce in each one of these. Kentucky bourbon, Memphis, Kansas City, so it's going to be a little sweeter. I'm going to mix those together. And of course, I've got my rubber brush right here. So be back with you in a moment. All right, so there you have it. There's the Mark sauce, and there's the 3 sauces together, and it is mostly the Memphis. All right, so our macaroni and cheese continues to cook. Yeah, it's reducing down, and I'm sure in another hour or so it will be ready. I'm getting ready to take these ribs off of the smoker and let them cool sufficiently for me to sauce them. Just pulling those off the smoker, I can tell without even opening up the foil that they're pretty tender. And here we have our macaroni and cheese. It's going to taste really good, but I do have to say I don't cook macaroni and cheese that often because generally speaking, I think it's something for kids. So because all of us this evening are adults, we can, spice it up a little bit. So I'll come back in about 30 minutes or so and probably add the extra layer of cheese to the top. All right, so I have already opened up the ribs. They are tender, they're ready to go. But what I'm gonna do, because the macaroni and cheese needs a little more time in the smoker, I'm going to put these in the oven, but I'm not going to turn the oven on. They're just gonna be in the oven right over here to just sit there. And they'll continue to stay warm for quite a bit because they are foiled up. It is now about 5:30. I did crank the smoker up to 300 degrees to cook this pasta in the mac and cheese. And I also sprinkled it with some Kraft Parmesan. So now we're gonna put the final layer of cheese on. There we have it. I put an entire bag of this thick cut sharp cheddar and close the lid, and we'll come back in about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, so it is 5:45, and I've got some very hungry people. Let's just say that top layer of cheese has melted sufficiently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin the shutdown cycle for the smoker. Yes, the other way. And I'm going to put the lid back on and just let some of the radiant heat continue to cook. And I've got to get the meat ready for everyone. So here we go. We have our beef back ribs. These are the ones with the cherry rub. These are the ones with the Moe's rub. And that is a beef shank, which got accidentally thawed out along with the ribs. So I put those on the smoker about 2 hours ago. And those will be interesting to taste. So I'm going to be saucing these and then covering them with foil. All right, so under that foil are the ribs. I'm letting it set up. Here, this just gives you an idea about what it all looks like. And I've got to go get the macaroni and cheese out of the smoker now. All right, and I brought the macaroni and cheese in. You can see my serving utensil. It's sitting up, so that indicates that the macaroni and cheese has been cooked. I am going to have a little taste of it before serving this to everyone. Okay, so the ribs are off. I did try one with some of the cherry rub. Very flavorful. The macaroni and cheese, just had a few bites of it. It does need to cool down, but it turned out really, really good. And my coleslaw is also ready, so it's about time to call everybody down here. Okay, so I've cleared my plate of my ribs, and now I'm going to try the beef shank. That looks very primitive. All right, so you can see we're going to be stuck with macaroni and cheese for the rest of the weekend. And we have plenty of ribs left over. But those who ate them were very pleased. So usually when I end these food reviews, I say, all right, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. It's all gone. Well, in this case, we have leftovers for the weekend. Leftover ribs, coleslaw, and certainly macaroni and cheese. I'm pleased with this meal. Would I do it again in the near future? Probably not, but I always like experimenting and sharing with you my culinary adventures. Good evening, everyone. I'm here at Perry's Pizzeria in McKinney, Texas. I have not been here for well over a year, so I'm very excited about it. And these are the Parmesan bites, but our waitress has had to go back to get us the marinara sauce. And here we go, the sauce came and I get to try it. All right, so the Parmesan bites were good, but you can also tell that these same pieces of dough are also used for dessert bites, because they're probably, anyway, waiting on our pizza, our wings. We got the weekly special, and I'm also getting pasta along with that. Part of our pizza special is we got some boneless wings. These look good. And our cheese pizza has arrived. This is before human hands have touched it. And here is my pasta. That looks very good. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My pasta bowl is all gone. And of course, when you're at a pizza place, you have to eat pizza. I hope I have enough room for this. We have finished eating, and of course, the Perry's Pizza in McKinney is adjacent to Cinemark. And what are we seeing? Ghostbusters. Good afternoon, everyone. It's about 4 o'clock. I've uncovered the smoker behind me, and we are getting ready to make King Ranch chicken casserole. Now, I'm sure some of you all have heard of this. Some of you all have not. I am following the recipe from Meat Church down in Waxahachie, Texas. This is a recipe which apparently every family or household in Texas has their own version of. I'm loosely following the Meat Church recipe. This is a major rite of passage for us, especially for me being a Scottish Kentuckian living in Texas. So I've had it before, but I've never made it. So very much looking forward to this. Here's some of the main ingredients we're going to be using. Fajita chicken, fajita vegetables, rotel, cream of jalapeno, and cream of poblano soup. We have some Mexican seasoning, some tostadas, corn chips, and Mexican cheese blend. Now, this is an easily adaptable recipe for ingredients which you have on hand. These are the ingredients I have on hand. All right, so here we go. I've got the electric frying pan out, and we're going to be browning up the fajita chicken. And here we go. I'm continuing to cook the chicken. Now, as we wait to cook the chicken, I've already gone ahead and sprayed my pan. Okay, so one of the things we have to do is we've got to basically brown our chicken and then cut it up. In the meantime, we can prepare some of the other ingredients in a bowl which go into our casserole. Right, so our fajita vegetables blend in the bowl. And there we go. A can of Rotel, diced tomatoes and green chilies. Right? And there we go there. 4 cans of soup. Now here, I've got HEB cream of jalapeno and cream of poblano. You use what you have on hand, whether that is cream of mushroom, cream of chicken, or whatever. This is Texas. We're going for something with some bite to it. And my 4 cups of soup, 2 cream of poblano, 2 cream of jalapeno are in the bowl. Another major ingredient are crushed corn chips. This is different from the Meat Church recipe, which used a bag of crushed Doritos. We're just going to go with corn chips. And here we go. There we go. And now I'm going to mix some of this up a little bit. Another major ingredient is 1 pound of cheese, and I'm using this Mexican cheese blend. And there we go. And I've got a 2-pound bag there, so I've left enough to put cheese, of course, on the top of our casserole. All right, I've mixed it up. We're going to let the corn chips soften a little bit. Later, we've got to take our chicken as well as our Mexican seasoning and amalgamate it together. All right, so our chicken thighs are pretty much cooked all the way through. They are nicely seasoned. I'm going to turn off the electric frying pan and let them cool off for a few moments. Okay, and while I'm waiting, the recipe calls for 2 layers of tostadas. These are basically tortillas which have been deep fried. So I'm going to put a layer of them down here, and then later when we apply our mixture to the casserole, we'll put another layer on top of that. All right, so my chicken is cooling off. It's a little pink in some areas, but this is going to go onto a 350-degree smoker for around 40 to 45 minutes. So it will continue to cook through what was not cooked through here. Okay, so I have moved the cooled chicken off to a cutting board here. I'm going to use one of these to give it a rough chop. I did have a little taste of one of the smaller pieces. The chicken is thoroughly seasoned and it will go well in this recipe. All right, so here we are. Our chicken thighs have been chopped up. Yes, I've had a few more pieces just for tasting. I'm going to let them cool down just for a moment. All right, so I am out here at the smoker while we are waiting for our chicken to cool off just for a brief moment. We'll get the smoker up to temperature, 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And here we go. I'm using that same Fruitwood blend from the last time when we did the beef back ribs. It will be smoky, but it will not be overpowering. And there we go. I've got our chopped chicken moved into the bowl, and I will now mix it all together. Now I'm going to put approximately 1 tablespoon of Mexican or Southwestern seasoning. I'm using Malcolm's Grande Gringo Mexican seasoning from How to Barbecue Right. And there we have it. It will have a very nice flavor to it. All right, so everything's been mixed together. We're just going to let it sit here for 5 minutes or so, let it get happy. Let's go check the temperature smoker. Okay, so you can see some of the smoke coming off the pellet smoker. It says 80 degrees Fahrenheit. We have a little ways to go here. Okay, so the smoker is immediately behind me. And of course, you could do this in the oven. But why do we use the smoker? Well, partially so we do not unnecessarily heat up the kitchen. But also so we can have that nice bit of extra flavor. Again, King Ranch chicken casserole is a big thing here in the state of Texas. All right, so we're going to take our first layer of our chicken, cheese, Rotel, soup, corn chips mix, and we're going to layer it here on our tostadas. And there is our first layer, our second layer of tostadas. And there we go, our second layer of our chicken mixture. And now, of course, we have to put a copious amount of cheese on the top. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We're out of cheese now. All the cheese has been put on the top of it. And of course, because the eye eats as well, we're just going to put a nice little dusting of more Grande Gringo on the top. All right, the smoker temperature is at 366 degrees. I think it's time we can put it on here. It's now approximately 4:55 in the afternoon, 350 degrees for approximately 40 to 45 minutes. Okay, so as we were waiting for this to cook, I've got our two main condiments ready, sour cream, sliced jalapenos, and I've taken that towel, which I had the electric frying pan on top of. I've taken some coasters. This thing's going to be blaring hot when it comes out of the smoker. All right, so I am out here at my smoking porch. We still have at least 35 minutes to go on the smoker. But of course, what am I going to do while I'm watching this whole casserole smoke? Smoking. Got some of my tiny little Brazilian cigars here. And I would like to just briefly emphasize, I hardly ever smoke. I do it once in a while, but this upcoming April, we've got a lot of things happening in our family, so having a stogie once or twice is going to be important for us to just take a break and relax. It is now approximately 5:35 in the afternoon. Let's check our, oh my, look at that. Do you think it's ready? I would think so. So I'm going to get my insulated gloves on and take it inside. All right, we're going to turn off the smoker, get it into its cycle down mode, and we'll let just a little bit of the resonant heat brown this up just a little bit more. And there we have it, our King Ranch chicken casserole. I mean, only an idiot would start eating it right now. This has got to sit here for at least 15 to 20 minutes in order to cool down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's ready to serve. I've got my big giant spatula here. I hope everyone's ready. And of course, my mother has made a nice token Southwestern salad for those who need it. I have this one observation to make. And this, I think, is a genuine indication when one has truly become Texified or a Texan. When you can eat pickled jalapenos, like half a dozen of them, straight out of the jar, and it doesn't bother you. I mean, I couldn't imagine eating something like this without them on the side. I just couldn't. And the heat quotient doesn't bother me. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this delicious meal. King Ranch chicken casserole. It is a true rite of passage for all the Kentuckians here and the native Scotsmen here, that we have become true Texans. So we just pray that you'll bless this meal to us and let us enjoy it. In Yeshua's name, amen. Amen. I haven't even had my piece of it, and it's already almost half gone. And even though it doesn't look too fancy, I've dressed it up a little. Some sour cream, some jalapenos. All right, everybody. So here we go.
I'm just casually walking down the road.
It's not the kind you see in movies, but looks like it.
This isn't like the mass-produced King Ranch, which we've had from different restaurants or supermarkets here in the area. I've already been told this is a do again. Okay, so everyone is telling me you better do this again. The feedback is spectacular. This was a triumph. Everyone enjoyed it. And whether you are in the state of Texas or not, or you are some of our brothers and sisters who live outside of America, something like this may be worth your while. And on one final note, as we close this up, I just had to put my apron in the washing machine. That is how involved this recipe was. It is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I have to cook for everyone. The launch time is 6 o'clock. We are having Oklahoma onion burgers. This is basically a smash burger patty with a huge wad of thinly sliced onions cooked into the meat and caramelized. Here's some of our main ingredients: 2 pounds of ground beef, of course onions, which I have to go slice, hamburger buns, cheese for those who want it, and I'm going to cook some steak fries in the air fryer. Okay, I've got 4 relatively small onions, but for 8 burger patties, this will be more than enough. And I'm going to slice them on the mandolin right here. And there we have it. Our onions are prepped. Give you an idea of the setup I've got here. I've got my griddle. It has not yet been turned on yet, but these are smash burgers, so I've got big giant spatula as well as a smasher. I've got 8 quarter-pound all beef burgers ready right there. Those will be smashed down. Our onions, thinly sliced, and then the buns, which will steam on top of the burgers. Here we are at the air frying station. I've got to get these ready. We're gonna have some steak cut French fries. These are liners for the air fryer, and you put it in the basket. And there you have it, the frozen fries in those 2 liners. We're gonna go at 355 degrees Fahrenheit for about 17 minutes. And with this air fryer, we're using the Mega Zone because you can actually divide it up between 2 zones, even though I've never done that before. All right, so here we begin. Now, our first 2 burgers are actually going to be for people who have specifically requested no onions, but I've already smashed them down. I put a little bit of this Steak and Shake burger seasoning on it. And yeah, you got to cook these for about, depending on how hot your griddle gets, between 2 to 4 minutes either side. And it's been about 3.5 minutes. I flipped those 2 burgers and I put the buns on top to let them steam just a little bit. So another 2.5 minutes, and then these first 2 regular burgers will be completed. I've taken those 2 burgers off, and I've got a foil pan here. I'm going to cover this with foil to just kind of keep them warm, because I know when everybody gets here, they're going to want to eat. And here we go with our first 3 onion smash burgers. So you take the patty, I put a little bit of seasoning on it, smashed it down with a big glob of onions. So really, you have to wait until some of the onions become translucent before you flip. And after about 2.5 minutes, we've flipped them. So I'm going to put just a little bit of seasoning and then the buns on top for the next several minutes. So while those burgers are cooking, here's some of the very few things I have selected for people to put on their burger. If you want cheese, you can have cheese, and if you want ketchup, God help you, but customarily, it's very simple: pickles and yellow mustard. Now, if you want to use ketchup for the fries, that's okay. All right, this is not a fancy presentation, but here are our 8 burgers and our steak fries out of the air fryer. And I know everybody is really hungry and ready to enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my burger, Oklahoma onion with pickles and yellow mustard. That's how they would have done it back in the day, in the Great Depression. Okay, so the Oklahoma onion burgers, they were a big success, at least for me. I had 2 of them. My only mistake is I should have made some more regular burgers, but it's a very easy, straightforward recipe. I recommend you try it. There are all kinds of videos on YouTube. You can see different variations, but basically you take a smash burger and you smash a lot of thinly sliced onions into your patty, and it caramelizes. And I used sweet Texas onions. You can use Vidalia's. Use what you have available. It's really good, and it's very filling. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here at my local H-E-B in McKinney, Texas, and I'm getting the brisket po' boy for a limited time only. Doesn't it look interesting? All right, so here you have it, my brisket po' boy. Those look like pepperoncinis. It's called a brisket de brie po' boy. Some kind of gravy on it, and it's got some other little goodies in it, a remoulade sauce. So this is an interesting take on something you typically find in Louisiana, down in the New Orleans area. Looks good, and I'm sure I will enjoy it. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, even though it was a little messy, had to get the fork out, it's all gone. And now it's time to go shopping for the wedding barbecue. Hi everybody, it's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I've uncovered the smoker back there. It is very true, Passover is imminent, but it's not so close that we can't have one final family meal with bread products. I am making hamburger sliders on the smoker. I'm using a recipe from Swine Life Barbecue. Don't let the name fool you. This is a beef recipe. You'll be able to see this is highly adaptable. I've never done this before, but very much looking forward to it. And I'm sure everyone in the family is too. Okay, so what I've done here is I've taken 3 pounds of ground beef. I put it in this casserole dish. I've kind of laid it out flat. I'm going to now season it. First seasoning, salt, pepper, blend from True Texas Barbecue. The second seasoning will be some Head Country. This is from Oklahoma. It'll give it a little bit of color. Now the trick is to take our seasoned meat right there and turn it over onto this wire rack. Okay, that actually worked out pretty well. I did have to move it just slightly down a little bit, and we're going to season the other side with the salt and pepper and then a little bit of the Head Country dry rub. And there is our seasoned meat. Let's go check on our smoker. All right, so we have to wait for our smoker to hit 325 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It's only in the 200s right now. Okay, so the smoker is around 320 degrees Fahrenheit. There is our big giant burger slab on the wire rack. We're going to leave it here for around half an hour, 30 minutes. All right, just a few things we've been doing to prep. These are our slider rolls. They've already been cut in half. So what we'll be doing is we'll get the meat off the smoker in about 20 minutes or so, and we'll put them on the slider buns. Some thinly sliced onions. I've also got some pickle slices over there I'm going to be putting on. And then we're going to be drizzling it with some butter seasoned with Heath Ryle's garlic butter seasoning on the top. We're also going to have some fries, which I'll be preparing here in the air fryer. We'll serve that with the burgers. All right, our meat has been out here for about 30 minutes. Okay, I think it is probably cooked sufficiently. I'm going to be taking it off with gloves and putting it on our buns. You might be able to see how I use the packaging for the buns to kind of carry in the meat so it wouldn't drip. And we're going to put it on the buns right here, which have already been sliced. Okay, so this is the first time I've done this recipe. No complaint regarding the juiciness of the meat. Now, because we've got some other people who are going to be eating with us, I'm only going to be dressing up about 3/4 of these sliders. So we've got 24 slider buns. Only 3/4 of them will have the pickles and the onions. All right, so there we go, the pickles and the onions. I also forgot, because I'm going to be taking this cookie sheet out to the smoker, I did spray the bottom of it with some cooking spray so the burgers don't get stuck. And I've now brushed down the buns with some of that melted butter and garlic butter seasoning. So back on the smoker for about 10 minutes. And here we go. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. I would say, yeah, broadly, these burgers look like they're ready. Yeah, the bread is been toasted sufficiently, so we're going to take this inside and let it cool off. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here are my 3 sliders. You can see the onions and the pickles, and I put some yellow mustard and our fries from the air fryer, which do have ketchup, but the burgers do not. So if you decide to do this recipe for yourself, do not be fooled. Those slider burgers look small, but they're actually quite big and filling. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what is my verdict on the sliders on the smoker? Classic combination of the thinly sliced onion, pickle, dab of yellow mustard, kind of a homage to Crystal, which we really don't have out here in Texas. Probably the only thing I would change is I'd probably use less beef, maybe 2.5 pounds rather than 3 pounds, because they were more filling than I thought they were going to be. But try this out for yourself after Passover, and yeah, use different combinations of toppings. I think you will probably get a lot of satisfaction out of it. Good evening, everyone. It is in a regularly cold, wet, rainy day here in McKinney, Texas. We are having a joint Mother's Day and birthday meal for my sister Jane, and we're eating at one of our multiple Chili's here in McKinney. And I haven't been to Chili's in probably 6 or 7 years, so looking forward to it. All right, so this is the inside of the Chili's. It looks a lot bigger than I remember. They've really enhanced it. All right, this is gonna be tough. Look at all this stuff on the menu I can get. I can get chicken, I can get a burger, I can get steak, I can get fajitas. I could even get a nice appetizer. This is not gonna be easy, but I'll figure it out. So this is what I ended up getting. It's one of the old staples from when I was eating at Chili's more frequently. I'm beginning to think I probably should have ordered a salad along with my meal, but it's too late now. All right, so we got this chips and salsa there.
We'll definitely be coming back.
It's okay. And here it is, my buffalo chicken ranch sandwich. It came. I haven't had one of these for a number of years. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. Even most of the lettuce that fell out. Okay, so the big question, will I come back to Chili's? Probably. When will it be? I probably won't wait as long as I did to come this time. Good evening, everyone. I hope you are doing well. We have a lot going on behind the scenes right now, but someone was gracious enough to bring me a takeaway. Jersey Mike's. And look at how big the bag is. I can't tell you how excited I am to show you my special order here. Okay, so here it is. This is a special order cheesesteak. It's their regular cheesesteak with, of course, steak, onions, peppers, but it's done hoagie style. I had to type this in special to my app, and it's with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise because it's getting warmer. So having lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise to a hot sub is a really nice addition. And if you like Jersey Mike's, consider doing this from time to time. I think you'll find it very refreshing. All right, so here we go. Another bite. This is a really nice variant for a cheesesteak. Lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, especially in warmer environments, very nice. All right, everybody, we're now on to the second half. I can't tell you how good this is. I mean, the addition of the mayonnaise and the lettuce and tomato to a cheesesteak, it just really is very nice, especially as things warm up. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all gone. Very nice. Very nice indeed.